would probably be a mad one for lots of people. Or laundry, like that can cook.
He knew what he was doing there. He knew it. I've said it a million times on other podcasts. Delivery is everything. Right? The content could be there, 100%. But delivery is everything.
The tone, right? And everything, 100%.
Tone, the content could be gold, but tone is wrong, it's over. But then you go from not shouting, and now you're coming calm voice, you're laying your facts down. Now you're kind of being condescending, and now you think you're a bit smarter than it. So in a way you can't win. And I think you have to match. You have to look at where you are in your relationship and stuff, and also just realize, you're not 17 anymore, you're not 22 anymore, you're not 25, you're not 28. We're in our 30s now. Like let's at least try and look at that in this marriage and accept that in this marriage there are going to be things that we agree on, things we disagree on, and where we don't, let's come with a bit of a strategy about how we come into the middle.
100%.
Because I think if you can come with a strategy with every conflict, and I think there's nuances, but if you come with some kind of strategy about how you're going to deal with it, understand that, for the last 10 years, we argue the same and we stop talking for 2 weeks all the time. That gets boring at some point, and you want to stop that at some point.
I think you're 100% right, bro. I think, you know what, coming from a household where I've seen divorce, you know what I'm saying? I've seen my parents get divorced. I think that maybe has had an effect on me as well. I think I've seen what can happen when all forms of communication breaks down, respect goes out the window, and it's just a free for all. You know what I'm saying? There's not any kind of attempt to try and get a resolution. It's just attack. Everyone's attacking each other. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen the effect that has, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, every kind of way possible on the people who are married and the people around them. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think there's somewhere in my head that thinks, do you know what? I don't really want that to be me, And I know most things build up over time. You know what I'm saying? I think every serious argument I've been in with my missus, most of them have just been a build up of things gone unsaid. You know what I'm saying? Things maybe I've said whatever. You know what I'm saying? But really and truly, deep down, it's burning me. And I think that's where I think we need to get better at communicating certain things in a more grown up way, innit? And say, you know what? I wasn't really happy with that, You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting it build up to where it's like, okay, the first chance you get, everything comes out at once. And you just come out with a machine gun and start spraying everyone inside. You know what I'm saying?
The kids even get it. Like everyone gets it.
Yeah, everyone inside.
What you're saying is actually like some amazing insight. I don't think I've ever had an open conversation with someone that would talk about, what they saw from their parents. So thank you for sharing that. But it's so deep what you're talking about, because I think how we attack or how we approach conflict is all going to be based on how we grew up. Do you understand? 100%. And so I think one of the things that is definitely key in what you said is the communication breaks down. And so I think one of the fundamental bedrocks of resolving conflict is being open. And all having the trust in your relationship that you can be open without being judged. Because as much as we feel like marriage is a safe haven, a lot of people are in their marriage and trapped. They're not even able to really speak out. They're just living, they just wake up. They're happy to go to work early because they can quickly miss out on the missus. Because they pick up a bit of overtime, and come back late, just quick munch and then into the bed. You know what I'm saying? And pick up Saturday work and that, and then and that's not resolving conflicts. That's avoiding conflict. And I think conflict is inevitable in marriage, isn't it? And I think once you can kind of say, okay, conflict is going to happen, then it's all about, okay, how do I get to a place where we can resolve it? So I think having an open conversation with your partner in it, to the place where your communication style is in a place where you're not trying to just batter them. Do you understand? And actually, sometimes I think, okay, I'm gonna give it 2 hours before I say this, because then I can come from an angle as like, oh, babes, just a couple of hours ago, something, and then we can kind of have it in a forum where it will be, I'm hoping I can create a conducive atmosphere for us to have that conversation. But if I'm just coming on tops and I'm just like blazing with fire guns and everything, the first thing that happens is your defenses go up. So you're not actually going to really hear what the person's saying. Exactly. In my view, you're actually just going to be like, here we go again. So it's just like, there's no value in what you're going to say, number one. Number two, there isn't actually then any communication as to how you move forward. So you're not resolving the conflict. You're just raising an alarm again. Do you understand? It's almost like pressing an alarm button and it keeps going off. Or you keep putting up your conflict on snooze. You actually need to turn it off, innit? And that's my thing. And so one thing that's really key, I think, in trying to resolve resolving conflict is understanding values. Yeah. And so only recently, I put out like a message up on one of my like social media statuses to say, the key thing is you have to manage your own expectations, right? And when I say managing your expectations, like not putting too much expectation or giving too much importance to someone to the place where if they disappoint you, it messes you up. Because if you manage your expectations, you protect your heart in doing so. What do I mean by that? So I mean, like, so for example, I might say, but it's your duty to do that to my wife, innit? But if I manage my expectations to say she should do that, but if she doesn't, I just pick it up. I'm going to be less likely to be vexed, number one. And if I pick it up a couple of times, 3-4 times, I can just kind of say, oh, look, babe, look, like, this is I think you're supposed to do this, but you're not doing it. What's the deal? Like, are you happy to do it? Or do we need to be looking at an alternative kind of thing? I'll use, and it's not necessarily my example, but I'll use, for example, cleaning the house. That'd probably be a mad one for lots of people, or laundry, like that can cook.
He knew what he was doing there. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
Laundry one.
I saw what he did. I see what he did
that one there.
I see what he did there. I see what he did.
That thing, yeah, having spoken to quite a few people, yeah, that thing can cause a complete ruckus in the household, isn't it? And it goes from how you deal with your laundry to how the laundry should be done. And so if there is an expectation, there could be, for one, you could just have a real conversation and say, look, okay, we're both working. We're just not going to be able to just do it in the way we need to. So we either just collect everything, go to the laundrette and they just do it for us, or we need to work out a system. But trust me, there's little things that can cause a complete madness in your household.
I feel
it's never the big bits.
I feel that is the little things though. It's the little things that add up. Yeah. It's the little things, like, as you said, housework, that someone might be doing something, you know, that they don't really want to do, and they're just building up a kind of anger inside them to where it gets too much and then it explodes into something else that doesn't need to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this is why I've always said, like, for me, a marriage is like a business. Like, you have to, it might sound a bit, you know, rigid, but you have to run it like it is your business. Like, you have your tasks, you have your jobs, you have meetings about who's doing what this week, or who's Sunday night, let's come together. Okay, what's the plan? Especially if you've got kids in the household, like, you have to have some kind of organization, in my eyes anyway. That's what works for me. Maybe some people it's different, but that's what works for me. Like, I mean, the thing is, when I think about it, some of the businesses that I've started and whatever, any complications that come up in those businesses, straight away we have a meeting. We have a meeting. We try to resolve. We don't hold it in and say, oh, you know what, like, whatever, like, getting our feelings. We try and resolve it. If me and Stuart have an issue about the podcast, we phone each other straight on the phone. All right, how can we resolve this? How can we do it? And I feel like it needs to be applied to your marriage as well. I know emotions can get involved as well in your marriage, but even just attempt to kind of have that kind of outlook where you just say, all right, you know what, any problems come up, let's sit down, let's hash it out, let's get it out, let's sort it out. Do you know what I'm saying? And it might be the next day when you both can talk about it. It might be, you know, whatever, 2 days later. But just so you have it in your head, like, you know what, we're going to sort this out regardless, kind of thing, I think is important.
I think what you're saying is important as well, but definitely there's not one fits all. And that's the problem with conflict, right? Sometimes you're trying to apply your method to what you think it should be done. And so there's a documentary I watched about Alex Ferguson, innit? And they said, I'm not really a Man U fan, so it's not that deep, but they were like saying,
don't put slander on my team, bro.
He's on the ball today, you know. He's on it today. He's on fire today.
So don't put no slander, bro.
But I rate him because he said the most important thing about management is managing people, innit? So he was like, the way he manages Eric Cantona is completely different to the way he'll manage like some of these other teams, and that was in order to get the best out of them, innit? Because for him, he's like, okay, if I treat this person like this, I treat this person like that, I'm going to get the best. And I think sometimes what happens is in a marriage is that we take for granted that we're really close to them. So actually, we can tend to be very harsh to that same person that we're very close to, because we might take for granted that that's my partner, innit? She's going to be there, ride or die. Whereas we may not necessarily place that sort of callousness, or when I say callousness, like just kind of like whatever, if it was like our business partner, because we think, we got to treat them in a particular way to try and manage that relationship. And I feel like we should manage our home relationship the most, because you say a word out of anger to your wife, believe me, the thing could come up 10 years later, you know. It's just like,
it lingers.
You said that about me, and that is like, it could be mad for you to ever get, past that. Do you understand?